Good morning. It was a cool, grey and cloudy day. It is Thursday, 20th of July, and I've got a nice hot cup of tea and a package to continue unboxing. I've already pulled out some items from this package so far, one of which is the adventure pack for DCC Day 2023, which takes place on Saturday the 22nd of July, which is DCC Day 4. Now, this is not the only release for the day. This contains 2 scenarios for Dungeon Crawl Classics, but the other is Crash of the Titans, a scenario for Mutant Crawl Classics. And throughout this unboxing, I am going to do my very best not to call this Clash of the Titans, although the scenario does involve 2 Titans that do clash. So anyway, let's have a look. The Seekers are tasked with exploring the towering remnants of an ancient city to recover a powerful artifact. To do so, they'll need to somehow avoid 2 skyscraper-sized leviathans battling for dominance over the ruined city. Can the party avoid being crushed by the mutant monstrosities, or will they be trodden underfoot by the uncaring colossi? DCC Day 4, Crash of the Titans, is a third-level adventure that pits the player's brains against the titanic brawn of 2 gigantic mutants. The adventure includes a full-colour map and cardboard standees to track the gargantuan monstrosities as they move through the city, blocking the party's progress, or even worse, mashing them to paste under the towering bulks. So, that sets up an interesting situation. Now, the first thing to notice about this scenario, at least, is that its cover is a wraparound cover. Now, your standard Dungeon Crawl Classic scenario has a cover like this. There's a nice front cover. It's usually not split like that. I mean, if I was to show you, that's more of a traditional look, but because this has got 2 scenarios in it, it's got the split cover. But Crash of the Titans has a wraparound cover. So if I show you that, you will see the full cover in its glory, where you have the Seekers there, the player characters, essentially skulking by a fountain as they warily eye the giant mutants wandering the area. There, and we've got the skyscrapers in the background. And this cover is actually going to grace the new printing of the Mutant Crawl Classics role-playing game, as I understand it. Now, there's a good reason why this is a wraparound cover, because it's actually a proper wraparound cover in the tradition of TSR's scenarios of old, where you get a separate wraparound cover. And what you've got inside is this. This is a map of the location where the scenario takes place, the City of Storms, and what you've got is this essentially 7 hexes. You've got the 6 hexes surrounding the central hex. You've got the lake, and then an acidic swamp surrounding it, with locations like the suburbs, an old industrial building, a power tower, and an island. The player characters will have to explore, all the while watching where these 2 leviathans will be, sort of like as they randomly wander around the map. And what what you're supposed to do is take these standees, cut them out, and stick them down so that you can track their progress around the map. To be fair, I wouldn't do that, and you probably wouldn't do that, because you wouldn't want to ruin this fantastic looking inside cover and this fantastic looking front cover. You don't want holes in either. In the meantime, let's have a look inside the actual scenario. And what you have is this the front cover of the actual scenario, showing the player characters essentially again hiding, fearful of the looming monster. And it's one of the great things about the scenario is that this monster, the 2 monsters, just sort of like their presence is there throughout the scenario. They loom, you know, not always aware of the player characters, but when they are, oh boy, you know, the first reaction should be run away, run away, run away. So we have guidance for Titan movement in the city using the standees, and then you have the player start, which is essentially where they begin at the it's sort of like on the outskirts of the City of Storms. Now, the scenario itself involves a task set to them by the Holy Medicinal Order. Now, the Holy Medicinal Order has an operating and functional rejuve chamber, which they can use to heal any wounds, any injury, and almost any illness. But the power cell for it has run dry, so they need a replacement. And the only location, of course, to find a replacement is here in the City of Storms, and what they want is a Q-Pack, which is a really rare power cell, and also quite a large one. So the City of Storms is well known for being a location over which lightning storms are seen to play out continuously. When the player characters arrive, there's no lightning storm. Everything is calm, bright and sunny, and they can see all of this. So as they progress through the area, the other thing that happens is that the player characters will hear whispers. They're very quiet initially, but once they actually hear them for the first time, they can hear them again and again, and they can talk back. So the player characters can actually have a conversation with whomever is whispering to them, and get hints and suggestions. So the judge has actually sort of like a narrative device to sort of like help the player characters out as they progress around the scenario, around the map. So what we've got in the locations, we've got a burrow where one of the Titans lairs. You've got suburbs where the player characters can investigate some houses, a power receiver, manufacturing plant, and of course a transmission tower. And the tower is all important. And we've got internal maps here. So we have here we have the sort of the houses of the suburbs. Then you've got the tower and the upper floors and the top floor, of course, because it's a tower. If you've got a tower, you've got to make the player characters climb it. You know, so there we go, all the way up there. It's also a submerged vehicle port for them to explore, and the depth of the swamp and so on. But there's floors 18 and 19 inside the power tower. Floor 19, and of course, as they climb up the tower, as they explore the tower, the inevitable will happen. Because, you know, what you've got in the scenario is a pair of gigantic titanic monsters, essentially the equivalent of kaiju for Mutant Crawl Classics. And as we all well know, there's one thing that kaiju are attracted to in any film, in any story, it's skyscrapers and tall buildings. So they're going to come barreling towards this transmission tower and want to basically assault it and climb it, which sets up a sort of like, you know, a fantastic climax as the player characters are trying to solve the problem atop the tower, whilst it's being assaulted by two giant mutants that they've been trying to avoid throughout the rest of the scenario, and ultimately that will lead to, hopefully they'll succeed, find the Q-Pack they need, find a means to power it up, because essentially, because, you know, everything's deactivated in the area, so there's no storms, there's no electricity. They've got to find a source and then get back home and be successful. And that's actually all quite a lot of fun. I think it's such a fantastically thematic and different scenario, playing around with another genre as well as the post-apocalyptic genre, combining the two to great effect. So also at the end of what we've got in Crash Nights, we've got basically a bit of a nice a short convention report from GaryCon 15, including, we've got a picture there of the stalwart judge Brendan Lassalle, who essentially just he has two jobs, which is essentially traveling the world, running adventures for Dungeon Crawl Classics, and writing scenarios. And on the back here we have basically a list of all sort of like a few adventures for both Dungeon Crawl Classics and Mutant Crawl Classics. So that is Crash of the Titans for Mutant Crawl Classics. Now, so you've got essentially 3 scenarios released for DCCA 2023. I like both scenarios in here, but I think my pick, if I was to say the one thing I absolutely really like for the whole event, is Crash the Titans. This is such a fun adventure. Your players are really going to... There's a good mix of exploration of the limited area of the City of Storms. You've got the looming threat of the Titans there. So you've got exploration of the area, you've got the role-playing interaction with the Whispering ally, and then you've got sort of like all the combat of sort of like, you know, there's a few locations you can have in combat in the rest of the swamp, but it's the big combat at the end where it's really kind of matter. So it's a great combination. It's a really great scenario, and I think, you know, you have a blast playing it. And this is definitely worth picking up if you find somewhere that is doing DCC Day on July 22nd this year. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below. And if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to more unboxings in the Nook, where you see me out here with a package containing a book or game, or in this case a release for DCC Day 2023, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Also down below you will find a link to a review of this scenario, which will appear tomorrow. Will appear on July 22nd. In the meantime, thanks again for watching another unboxing. Look, I will be back soon with another one. Bye for now.